Have you ever had a Python script that just got out of hand? It starts out small and simple. It works just fine, but before you know it, it's a monster file, 1,000 lines long, and you're scrolling endlessly just trying to find that one function you wrote last week. Well, let's talk about how to move past that. How to go from that single, messy script to clean, professional, and really powerful Python code.
Right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. The code does what it's supposed to do, but it's all just in one giant file. All your functions, all your variables, everything is just crammed together. It's getting tough to maintain, and forget about trying to reuse any of that awesome code you wrote for your next project.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How do you level up from that? How do the pros organize their projects so they can easily come back to them months later, share them with others, and build on them without creating a tangled mess? And you know what? The answer is actually pretty elegant, and it's built right into Python. It all comes down to understanding two core concepts: modules and packages. These are the tools that are going to completely transform the way you write code. So let's really put a name to the problem. If you're just messing around in the Python interpreter, everything you define just vanishes the second you close it. So you move to a script file, right? But as that file grows, it just gets harder and harder to manage. That right there is the code organization problem. Okay, think of it like this. A single long script file is like a super messy workbench. All your tools, your functions, your variables are just scattered everywhere. It's a total nightmare to find what you need. Modules, on the other hand, are like organized toolboxes. Each toolbox holds a specific set of related tools. Suddenly, everything is easy to find, easy to maintain, and super easy to reuse. So let's crack open these toolboxes and see what they're all about. We're going to dive into modules, which are really the fundamental building blocks of any organized Python project. And we're going to see how easy it is to create your very first one. And this is the part that's so brilliant. A module is just a Python file. Seriously, that's it. Any file that ends with .py and has some Python code in it, some functions, classes, variables, is a module. The name of the file is the name of the module. It is just beautifully simple. So let's make this real with an example straight from the Python documentation. Imagine you create a file, you call it fibo.py. Inside, you just write a couple of functions for calculating Fibonacci numbers. And boom, that file, fibo.py, is now officially a module. It's your Fibonacci toolbox. Okay, great. So we've built our little Fibo toolbox. But a toolbox that just sits on the shelf doesn't do us any good, right? We need to know how to actually open it up and use the tools that are inside of it. And there are basically three main ways to do this. First, you can just import Fibo. This is like grabbing the entire toolbox. It's clean, but it means you always have to say which toolbox the tool came from, like fibo.fib. Or maybe you only need one specific tool from that box. You can use from fibo import fib. That's like taking just that one wrench out and using it directly. And finally, you can give your toolbox a nickname with as. So import fibo as fib tools lets you use a shorter name, which is super handy. Now this right here, this is a huge deal. When you import fibo, the functions inside it don't just spill out everywhere. They stay contained inside their own little world, their own namespace. This means you can have a variable named mylist in your main script and a different variable named mylist inside your module, and they won't clash. It is absolutely crucial for writing clean, bug-free code. All right, so modules are great, but what happens when your project gets bigger? What happens when you don't just have a few toolboxes, but dozens, maybe even hundreds? Your workbench might be clean, but now your whole workshop is a mess. And that is where packages come in. Simply put, a package is just a way to organize your modules, kind of like how folders organize your files. It lets you create this really nice hierarchy using what are called dotted module names. So instead of just a module called echo, you can have sound.effects.echo. It immediately tells you exactly what it is and where it belongs. Check out this classic example. We have a main package called sound. Inside that, we have subpackages for effects and filters. And inside those, we have our actual modules, like echo.py and equalizer.py. See how clean that is? If you need the echo effect, you know exactly where to go, sound.effects.echo. Your project basically starts to document itself. This is what an organized workshop looks like. So you might be wondering, how does Python know that the sound folder is a package and not just a regular folder? Well, it's all down to one tiny kind of magical file. init__dot_py. Just by existing inside a directory, this one file tells Python, hey, treat this folder as a package. The wild part is it can be completely empty, but it has to be there. Okay, before we wrap up, I want to give you a couple of pro tips. You're going to see these all the time in professional Python code, so understanding them is really going to help you master modules. You have definitely seen this line of code before. If _name equals _main, so what is it doing? Well, every Python module has a special built-in variable called _name. If you run that file directly, Python sets _name to the string _main. But if you import that file into another script, _name gets set to the module's actual file name, like Fibo. This lets you write code that only runs when you execute the file directly, which is perfect for writing tests or maybe a little demo of what your module can do. It's like giving your file a secret second life. Okay, so how does Python actually find your fibo.py file when you type import fibo? It's not magic, I promise. Python just has a simple search list that it goes through in order. First, it looks in the same directory as the script you're running. Then it checks a special environment variable called Python path, and if it still can't find it, it looks in the default place where all your other libraries are installed. Simple as that. And one last thing, a really cool efficiency trick Python does behind the scenes. You might worry, what if I import the same module in 10 different files in my project? Isn't that going to be slow? Well, you don't have to worry about that. Python is smart. It only actually loads and runs a module the very first time you import it. Every time after that, it just uses a cached version it has in memory. It's one of those brilliant little things that keeps your programs fast and lets you focus on the fun stuff. So there you have it. We've gone from that messy, cluttered workbench to a fully organized workshop. We've got toolboxes for our functions and clear sections for every part of our project. The structure isn't a problem anymore. It's actually helping you build better things. So the only question left is, now that your workshop is clean, what are you going to build?